Before we continue with the analysis, I want to talk to you guys about JerseyFIFA.com, the home of all of the greatest football kits. Whether that's the latest home shirts, the latest away shirts, tracksuits, or even retro kits, Jersey FIFA has a bit of everything. There really is something for everyone, so if you are interested, then make sure to use the link in the description down below and head to JerseyFIFA.com. Hey guys, welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel, and what is essentially a bonus video. There was a day earlier in the month where I was meant to upload and I didn't. I can't remember why now, but I didn't upload. So I thought today I'd chuck in a random extra video. Today we're going to be on a really chill vibe, you know, so grab yourself a drink, coffee, hot chocolate. Personally, I'm on the water, you know, got to stay healthy. Grab yourself a bite to eat, whatever, but just join me. We're going to kind of just chill in this video, talk about Victor Lindelof, kind of discuss kind of his role at Manchester United. Should he be at Manchester United beyond this season? You know, the answer for me is yes. I want to talk about why, basically. I think over the past few seasons, actually, before we say that, subscribe please. Thank you. I think in the past he's been kind of labelled and kind of shunned in with Harry Maguire as a poor centre-back. And it's kind of similar to the Fred and McTominay situation. Everyone kind of goes, oh, McFred is terrible. But Fred and McTominay are two separate players, and Fred's actually much better than McTominay. I feel like at times it's the same with Maguire and Lindelof. We've seen Maguire make a lot of mistakes in the past. Lindelof has been his partner for a lot of those mistakes, so everyone just assumes Lindelof is a bad defender. And I just don't think it's the case. I actually think he's a really good player. So yeah, that's kind of what we're discussing today. Now, just to kind of make myself clear, I'm not saying Victor Lindelof should be Manchester United's starting centre-back. You know, if we're looking at the team moving forward, I'm not saying Lindelof should be starting alongside Lisandro Martinez. I don't really think anyone thinks that. I think everyone's of the opinion it should either be Rafael Varane or a new signing. So I'm not saying Lindelof should be the starting centre-back. However, I certainly don't think he should be sold either. Some people are looking at it and saying, well, if he isn't good enough for the first team, ship him off, sell him, bring someone else in. And I just disagree. I think he's such a good squad player. Now, one of the reasons for this is because of his experience. This is a very experienced footballer now who is kind of coming into that stage of his career where he should be in his prime. And like I said, he's very experienced. He's kind of been about the block. He understands the Premier League, all the cup competitions. He's played in the Champions League, in the Europa League. He knows Old Trafford. He just knows the club at this point. And I think that's actually quite valuable experience to have. I also think, actually, I think he's a much better player than what people give him credit for. I think this season he's really improved his aggression off the ball. One thing that I think even I would have criticised in the past was that he wasn't always physical enough, a little bit standoffish at times, not someone to really go and engage in tackles and, you know, be a bit safe. I think this season, particularly when he's played on the left-hand side of defence, on the left-hand side of the pairing, I should say, I think we've seen him being a bit more aggressive, a bit more front-footed, kind of stepping in, not giving the opponent as much time. He done it well against Brighton at times, and in general this season, when called upon, I think he's done it quite well. And I think he's drastically improved in that area. I also just think, in general, he's a good defender. I think his reading of the play is very good. He seems like quite a composed player, not someone that is ever particularly rushed or hurried or stressed really in any situation. He seems to play the game at his own pace, and personally I really like that in a centre-back. I think it's a good trait to have. Combined with that now kind of extra aggression we've got, that extra bit of physicality, it's quite a nice little blend. Composure with also good reading of the game, but also some decent physical attributes as well. Now, some people will look at it and say, he still doesn't make enough challenges. I mean, dribblers tackled, only in the 47th percentile. But what we need to remember with this sort of thing is that he plays for a team which typically, granted not always, but typically has a decent amount of the ball, which means there are less opportunities to make tackles, so naturally his dribblers tackled number will be lower. However, what we can see is the percentage of dribblers tackled is actually really high, the 98th percentile, tackling 80% of the dribblers which he's attempted to tackle. He's successful 80% of the time, which is really very good. Not many centre-backs in Europe have a better record than that. So when he does engage the ball, he's actually very good. This is obviously something that we know that Ten Hag values in his teams. United push quite a lot of players forward, which means there are situations where he can be counter-attacked. That 1-versus-1 ability is important. And Lindelof has that. He is really good. I also think he's quite good on the ball as well, and actually really underrated in this area. More so, granted, when he plays on the right-hand side of the defence. I think it suits him more than the left side, simply because of the kind of the angles that he gets given the ball. But again, he's just a really calm player. He's really composed on the ball. He never seems too rushed, and it's kind of backed up in his FBref report, where if I can find it, here it is. Pass completion, the 98th percentile. He completes 93.6% of his passes, which again is just extremely impressive. And we can see that he ranks in the 96th percentile for pass completion with short passes, the 98th for pass completion with medium range passes, and the 95th percentile for pass completion with long passes. Now what you will see at the bottom there is that passes completed and attempted for long passes is a lot lower than the others, which is kind of something I'm a little bit disappointed about. A few seasons ago, long passing was actually quite a valuable weapon of his. If you remember the amount of times that we would see Marcus Rashford kind of bending this run from left and then infield, with Lindelof kind of playing a long raking pass over the team, I think this is something that I'd actually kind of like to see Lindelof bring back to his game, because it was actually really effective against a high line. On top of this, I'd also like to see him being a little bit more adventurous with some of his passes. Yes, a very high completion rate is very good, but at times it does suggest that you're perhaps being a little bit safe on the ball, and his progressive passing numbers, easy for you to say, are quite low. So perhaps at times I would like to see him being a bit more adventurous with his passes into the middle. But I think these kind of flaws are the reason why I'm sitting here saying he isn't a first choice player. He isn't a title winning centre back. But I just think he's a really useful player to have in the squad. His attitude seems really good. He doesn't seem like a player which really complains. He has had some pretty large spells this season where he hasn't been in the team, and that's not something he's really used to over the past few seasons. However, as far as we're aware, he hasn't complained. He just seems to have knuckled down, and when he plays, he seems to be playing well this season, particularly when he's not alongside Harry Maguire. When he's with either Rafael Varane or Lisandro Martinez or even Luke Shaw at the moment, his performances genuinely have been really impressive, and all round, I'm just enjoying his performances. Now, like I said, he isn't that top-level defender that United need, but I think maybe United know that, and I think Lindelof knows that. But if he is happy to be a squad option, I think he's perfect. I think Victor Lindelof, kind of as a player, I think he walks into most teams in the Premier League. Obviously not the top four, because they've got some really good defences there. But genuinely, I think outside of the top four, Lindelof plays for most teams in the league. So to have that as your backup option, where let's say Rafael Varane gets injured, or Lisandro Martinez, or both is the situation at the moment, to have the quality, the experience of Victor Lindelof, is just really handy to have. It's a bit like Nacho at Real Madrid. They bring him into the team, he can do a job at right back, left back, centre back, and he doesn't complain, he just gets a job done. You need those players. You need those players. The best Premier League winning teams have those players who, when needed, are called into the team, when someone gets injured, whatever it may be, they just come in, they don't complain, they do a job, they do their work, and kind of go about it a little bit quietly. Lindelof is that. I also think Lindelof potentially offers a little bit of versatility as well. Now, I wouldn't say he's great in any other position, but he has played right back before in his career, he has played as a holding midfielder, he's even had a couple of games at left back. So again, a bit like I'm saying, Nacho at Real Madrid, he is one of those players where if you need him to, he can do a job in a few different areas, and he's got that experience, he's good in 1-versus-1 situations, he's good, he's safe, he's secure on the ball. It just makes him, for me, a really good squad player. Now, like I said right at the start of the video, this is quite a relaxed video, it's not overly analytical or tactical or anything like that. This isn't groundbreaking. I just kind of want to discuss him, because I've seen some disagreements on Twitter over the past few weeks really. I think it's been going on for a while now, and I've kind of wanted to give my thoughts on it. Some are of the belief that Lindelof isn't good enough to be at Manchester United, and I do get it, because like I said, I don't think he's a centre-back that starts 38 games a season and wins you the Premier League. I don't think he is. I think physically he's not quite there, perhaps his passing's a little bit too safe for the modern era, he's not the best in the air, so he probably isn't that level of centre-back. But to have him as a squad player, where you might need him for 10 Premier League games in a season, and he can play the cup competitions, and he can play in Europe, whatever you want, I just think he's such a good option to have. You haven't got to go out and spend 50 million to bring that player in. He's already at the club. Wage-wise, I think he ranks 13th for United's wages, which isn't ideal, but it's also like a third of what someone like Jadon Sancho or David De Gea is earning. He really isn't on that much money compared to some of the other players in the squad. He's at that age where he's very experienced. All round, again, just kind of chilling out doing this video, I just think he's a really underrated player. I think he's really very good, and I think if he was playing for a team in the Premier League outside of the top four, I think everyone would be looking at him going, that's the centre-back we need to go sign, because I think he's really very good. So for me personally, I really like him as a squad player for next season, and beyond that, if he kind of improves further, maybe he can come into the first team. Probably a little bit unlikely, because these are kind of physical traits which seem unlikely to develop. But you just never know. But I want to give my thoughts on Victor Lindelof, and there they are for you. Let me know what you think. Do you agree? Do you think he is someone who offers good experience, but also composure, but also technical ability, versatility off the bench, or, you know, as a rotation player? Do you think he offers that, or do you simply not think he's good enough? Do you think he's the wrong mentality? Whatever. Let me know what you think. Also, if he was to leave, where do you think would be a good club for him, for his development, for his career? Because again, I think he starts for most teams in the Premier League, and honestly most teams in the Champions League, because he is that good at centre-back. That's my thought anyway. But again, let me know what you think. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Just kind of a chilled back one. Extra little bonus video just because I was bored, so I want to make a video. Subscribe to the channel before you go. It would be greatly appreciated. I want to push to 13k by the end of next month. Apart from that though, thank you for watching. Hope you have enjoyed it. And as always, I will see you in the next one.